morning, everyone. Hello, hello. Sorry, I'm just trying to adjust my camera here so that it's not right in the light behind me. It's kind of like a halo. Lindsay will be on in a moment, and we will get started with our weekly coffee chat. Super fun. So, there we go. Good stuff. All right, here she comes. Hold on. There we go. All right. And I'm almost done with my coffee this morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Happy time difference, everybody. I'm so happy for your guys'
Right?
time difference.
Aren't you so much rested?
Oh, you know what? Got an extra hour of sleep. Was only up at 5 instead of 4. It was fabulous.
Amazing. Super fun.
Yep.
Did you sleep a lot this weekend catching up?
Not at all, actually. My sister and my niece are in town, and they arrived on Friday. So we had Halloween night. We went to kind of our little downtown area, and there was a massive excitement for Halloween because we don't do too much Halloween here in Mexico. And then Saturday we went out to the Day of the Dead celebrations. And yesterday we were at the beach all day and did turtle releases last night.
I saw that. That looks so cool.
Yeah. Oh, it was so awesome. So last year alone, they released 22,000 baby turtles into the ocean.
Oh my goodness.
Just doing our part. Yeah, just doing
Crazy.
our part. It was amazing. And it's funny because we've been talking about doing this since we've moved here 18 months ago, and we never did. And so when my sister came down, I was like, let's do it. And it's all based on if there's baby turtles to release, right? It's not a schedule if baby turtles, so there was, thank goodness. So we got to do it, which was incredible. So.
Good morning,
and then
Lisa.
one more
Good morning,
day.
Francie.
Hello.
Good morning, Santa. They're all saying good morning. Good morning, Mary. Awesome.
Morning,
Well, that
everybody.
is so fun. I love it.
It was a great weekend. Yeah, it was fabulous. How about you? What was your weekend like? I know you had brownie drop off and
yes, so
Ava get some work done.
Yeah, Ava went to her first sleepover camp at Brownies, so that was very exciting for her. So on Friday night, Ben went to his dad's and Ava stayed with us, and then early Saturday morning we had to drive her about an hour away for a sleepover camp. It's her first time being that far away from me, and I mean she's had sleepovers obviously at her dad's house and then with my parents, but she's never had a sleepover with somebody who wasn't family, and with there was 11 other girls. There was 12 girls total. So yeah, anyways, and it was an hour away. So and they didn't have really great cell phone service there. So I was worried, I didn't sleep very good Saturday night because I kept thinking if something happened and if they were trying to contact me. And of course, I can't just leave my phone off of silent because Lindsay and I get messages at all hours of the night because you guys are all in different time zones and things happen and whatever. So anyways, I just kept checking my phone all night. And then yesterday morning I had to go pick her up and she had an amazing time. Everything was perfect. And yeah, she can't wait to go back. So anyway, so it was really good, but
that's
it's a bit of a different weekend for us. And yes, with this little beast that's laying behind me right now, with him moving in, where is he? Oh, wait, hold on. Where is he? There he is. There's less relaxing that gets to happen that, even with the kids gone on daylight savings time, he was still up at 5:30 in the morning because for him that was 6:30. And so yeah, anyways, it wasn't necessarily super relaxing, but it was still a good weekend. And yeah, I got caught up in some work stuff, and I finally have a hair appointment this morning, so I can take care of these crazy roots. But yeah.
Nice, good shit.
Awesome. All right, what's going on this morning? What do we want to talk about?
You know what? To be perfectly honest, because I've had my sister here, I've been really quiet in the groups recently, so I haven't seen as much going on. But I did want to take a quick opportunity to congratulate all of our challenge members who went outside of their comfort zone and went live in our Recipe for Weight. That's our free Facebook group. Come on over there and take a look at it. But yeah, our challenge group, we set them up for a challenge within our challenge. And they had to go live in Facebook doing a meal prep, and they had to do it with somebody, whether it was their partner like this, where Christina and I are together, even though we're not together, or with somebody. And like people brought daughters and sisters and mothers, and some partners from across the country got together, and it was amazing. And I need to catch up on some of them, but I caught a few of them.
I loved watching them. I watched a bunch of them over the weekend, and I loved watching them. But my favorite moment of the weekend was actually when somebody who wasn't part of the challenge posted her meal prep, that she was inspired by everybody meal prepping, so she did a meal prep. So for those of you who don't know, I am a huge advocate of meal prepping. I think that it is one of the major secrets to my success. Before surgery, I was a takeout queen, that I always felt like I was too busy when it came to dinner. Before surgery, I had 2 young kids. My son was 1.5 and my daughter was 3.5 when I got surgery. So my kids were fairly young. I was a stay-at-home mom, and or anything at the time. I was literally a stay-at-home mom. That was my job. And for any of you know that have had kids and stayed at home with your kids, it is busy. So I felt like I was just always busy, and my kids would always, right around dinner time, they would be so needy, and it just felt like it was so hard on the table. So we did a ton of takeout, like all the time. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. We easily spent $100+ a week on takeout, like easily, for a family of 4. And again, my kids were very little; they weren't eating a lot, so it was expensive. It was not healthy. Even if you try to do healthier takeout, it's still not healthy. Let's be honest. Even if you're buying like, a takeout salad, or like burritos were a big one that we would do all the time, or things like we would try to be a little healthier with our takeout, but it still wasn't real healthy. So when I decided to have surgery, one of my big things was that I had to stop the takeout. It just had to stop. So I actually did, again, because I'm an upholder and an extremist in some things, I did no takeout whatsoever during my loss phase, like absolutely none. There was nothing that wasn't home cooked past these lips while I was losing weight. That I had nothing at all. Then I just got really good at meal prepping. My life didn't get less busy. It actually got more busy. I started a business. So it got way more busy. And then a year after that, I separated from my husband. So I was at home with 2 young children and running a business all by myself. So life has never gotten less busy, but I've learned to manage it a lot better. So meal prep has been a huge thing to me. That my meal prep used to be, when I was married, on Sundays, I would go in my kitchen, I would spend like 3 hours, and I would literally cook everything that I needed for the whole week. And that worked for me at the time in that part of my life. Now that doesn't work for me anymore. So now I do mini meal preps throughout the week. I will spend about 20, maybe 30 minutes on Sunday, and then I'll spend about 20 or 30 minutes on Tuesday or Wednesday. And then usually on Thursday or Friday, I do the same thing again, where I spend about 20 minutes getting us prepped for the weekend. Our weekend prep tends to look a little bit different because we're home on the weekends. But I just try to break it down into these mini little things. I do 2 different options for breakfast every week, usually an oat option and an egg option is usually kind of how I prep. So I do one that's higher carb and one that's higher fat. And then for my main meals, I tend to just decide, like, what do we have in the house? I usually do something in the Instant Pot or the slow cooker, something that's like a chili or a soup or a stew or something like that. And then I tend to do a casserole dish that I cook in the oven. And then I tend to do something that's either stovetop or grill in the summer, so like that I barbecue or grill. And then for my snacks, I usually do a baked thing, so like a muffin or a cookie or something like that. And then I do energy balls is my other thing that I do for meal prep. So I try to make it really, really simple. For me, to me, that's simple. If I use, all my different kitchen gadgets to bring it all together quickly, and I sort of have the same plan every week, and I just have to find, okay, what chili soup or stew do I want? What casserole do I want? And what thing am I cooking on my stove this week? Done. So it's made it very simplistic in my life, so that I can go search for those things and find them.
For those of you who don't know me, I am not a meal prep master in any way, shape, or form. So I'm always looking for easy. I am looking for what can I to be fair, in Mexico, it's hot, so we don't use our oven very often. So what can I do that's not going to use my oven? And so we really kind of focus that way. Now, we have a little market right by our house that has fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. So we do tend to do a little bit more shopping and bring it home and chop it up and get the vegetables and the fruit ready. So we always have fruit and vegetables chopped up and ready to go for the kids to grab or for us with takeout that I always find, and interesting enough, we actually were having this conversation last week, you know, about like the Uber Eats or the Chef's Plate or whatever I don't know. The Americans have another one. I don't know what it's called. It still takes between 20 and 30 minutes to get to your house. And you can make something, right? It's something good, delicious, and easy. And again, remember, I'm all about easy in like 15 minutes. So when you're hungry and you're like, oh, I'm just going to order takeout, you're sitting there for 40 minutes going, where is my food? I could have made something by then. And so I find it really interesting that we tend to go for what we call the easier option, but it's longer, it doesn't always taste as good, it costs more money, and it's not that much easier because you have to wait for it. When you're hungry, that's the last thing you want to do. We've had snacks waiting for our takeout before. It's like, why?
Totally.
Why didn't we just make food?
Yeah, no, I have definitely done that.
Yeah, and Christina, you were saying to me when we were talking about it last week that it's a non-negotiable for you. You don't do Uber Eats. You don't do any of the easy takeouts anymore because you find that it would be a slippery slope back down to bad habits.
Totally. So even like we have Skip the Dishes is a big one that we have, or Uber Eats, or there's a new one in town too. Some, I can't remember, door delivery or DoorDash, or I can't remember what it's called. But anyways, I have never ordered from any of those. And from a former takeout queen, that is huge. That it's non-negotiable. It's absolutely not. I will not do it. Dallas knows that it's not going to happen. So if we want something that does not deliver, like pizza and Chinese food, I think are kind of the only two things that like deliver services now. And I've actually heard that some of the pizza delivery companies are going more with the Uber Eats and like getting rid of their own delivery drivers. So if that happens, I'll be hooped, and there'll be no more takeout for me unless I physically go to the store and pick it up. So that then I'm taking that easiness away. DoorDash, that's what it is, Santa, thanks. But yeah, so I'm taking that simplicity away so that I can't just go and use an app on my phone to get that food delivered to my door. I have to physically get in my vehicle. And for those of you who know what my weather is like here, often the nights that I want takeout, it's because it's snowing and it's gross and I just want to like be in a bubble and not have to think about anything. Well, I'm not going to get in my car and go drive somewhere to go get takeout on those nights. It's not going to happen. So I won't do it. That it's absolutely no, it makes it too simple. And I do feel like it would be a very slippery slope for me, and a piece that would definitely impact my journey. Now, it's not to say that I don't eat takeout. We absolutely eat takeout sometimes, but I have to get my butt to go and like, you know, put all my gear on and go get it. So a couple of weeks ago, before our trip to California, we had donaires one night. We tried a new donaire place, and well, not new, it's actually an old one, but a place that we had never tried before. It was amazing. It was delicious. It's not that far from my house. We have not gone back. It's been 3 weeks, and there's no plans to go back anytime soon because it's like, oh, that was really good. You know, we quite enjoyed it. The end. Yeah, and then on the weekend we had Ava has at school every Thursday they have what they call a fun lunch where they bring like a hot lunch like from one of the takeout places in town. And anyway, Subway is one that's coming up. Well, my 7-year-old has never eaten Subway, so we took her for Subway home from Brownies camp. So we did have some takeout the other day or yesterday, but again, we had to physically go pick it up, and that's the other thing is I will very rarely bring it home even. That I'm very anal about these things because it was such a problem in my past life that I'm like, no, we sit and we eat in the restaurant, and then when we're done, I throw away what I don't consume. I rarely bring home leftovers, and it's just gone and done.
Yeah, and I love that. I love it. Oh, sorry. And what did you eat?
And then I came home and I meal prepped like a boss, and I made a whole bunch of stuff for the week. So now when I'm hungry, I go to my fridge and I open it up, and I have chili made for this week, and we made these like flatbread things, and we made pancakes, and we made oats, and we made, what else did we make? Falafels, and like we did a whole things so that now when I open the fridge, I cannot say ordering pizza is going to be faster because my food is ready. I just have to put it in the microwave. So done.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because one of the things that I love now is that, you know, they're making meal prepping so much easier with all of the different things they have available, right? Like Instacart or Walmart pickup or Superstore pickup, or, you know, all of those delivery food options and stuff. And so there is options for those of us who are not meal prep queens. There are options to make things easier, right? Like going to the grocery store, that can take time. You know, definitely meal prepping can take time, but I know there's a few people in our challenge group and in this group, I'm sure, that get those delivery meals delivered to them, or like the chef's plate where they give you everything you need and you can just make it up in the kitchen. So there's lots of different ways to get into the meal prepping and the food eating and stuff like that. But one of the biggest tips that both Christina and I talk about all the time is, if you don't want to eat it, don't bring it home, right? Christina's is ice cream, mine is chocolate, right? There are days where I go back down to my kitchen multiple times, 8, 9 times, hoping that when I open that door or that cupboard that there's going to miraculously be chocolate so badly, but they're not. It's not there, because I know that if I bring it in the house, when I go down, even if by that 9th time when I'm opening that door, I will want to eat it. Same with ice cream. So I always say it's one of those things that if you don't want to have it in your life, don't bring it in your house. And I know people are like, but what about my kids? And what about my husband? And what about those things? Well, this is where you can have a conversation with them and just say, listen, I know you love ice cream, but it's one of those things that really, really gets me. So if we are going to have ice cream, because I'm not going to never have ice cream again in my out and get ice cream. Right? And now, obviously, in Christina's world right now, that ain't happening because it's winter and snowy, but...
No, it's funny. That was a non-negotiable for me for a long time, was not bringing ice cream into my home. And for a long time, like I would say probably 3 years, I didn't. Now I will bring ice cream into my only buy ice cream that I don't like. So we frequently, because my Ava is an ice cream junkie, and my kids are allowed to, I very hard to still allow my kids to have treats and things in moderation. They're not eating ice cream all day, every day. And when they get ice cream, it's like with some ice cream in it. So how to do those things in moderation, I did not. And that was my problem, their problem. And I try not to pass those like unhealthy restriction habits onto my kids too. So they're allowed to bring ice cream into the house, but I do the buying still. So I buy ice cream that I don't like. So we often have cotton candy ice cream, which to me is revolting. Like it's like the grossest of gross. Now, if we had mint chocolate chip ice cream in my house, it would not be here because I would binge like crazy. And I just know that. So I know, I mean, Ava likes those other kinds, but we get those when we go out to eat. So we're allowed to have certain ice cream in our fridge or freezer. And then there's other things that are reserved for treats only when we go out. And it would be the same with like if I was all about chocolate or like chocolate bars or anything like that. It was funny when we were going through the kids' Halloween candy this week. Again, they're allowed like a treat jar, like that they can fill their treat jar, and they could keep whatever would fit in their treat jar, and everything else we donated. And anyways, when they're filling their treat jar, one of them went to keep a coffee crisp. I'm like, oh no, you should probably get rid of that because that is my weakness, is coffee crisp. I'm like, no, that cannot be in our house because I will eat it. And A, I'm stealing my children's candy. And B, I don't need to consume that. So anyways, so yeah, I was like, oh, you should probably get rid of that one. That's not a good one to keep.
That's so funny. Yeah. And I do the same. It's funny. Like, obviously we don't do Halloween here the same way, but in Canada, when I used to live there, if I was buying Halloween candy, it was always the stuff I didn't like. Right? It was like the licorices and the nerds and all. Like, I'm not a candy fan. I'm a chocolate fan. So I would never buy a pack of chocolates. I would never buy that. And so
125 chocolate bars for a snack.
Yeah, it would be gone. So I wouldn't buy it. So it would mean that I could have it in the house. But another trick was I would only ever buy it like the day of. So, you know, those people who are like, oh, good deal, I'm going to buy this. No, that wouldn't work with me, because if I had boxes of chocolate sitting in my cupboard for the children, yeah, it would be over. But it's the same with when they come home and they go through their candy. It's like, okay, like get rid of the stuff I know I would like to eat. And so I'm like, nope, get rid of it, get rid of it. The good news is the Mexican candy here, I do not like at all. So it's like, okay, yeah, bring it home. I don't mind.
Sorry, Farley is playing with my my yoga ball. He was just playing with it, but he was pushing it around.
I was going to say, he was sleeping a minute ago. Now he's up and full of beans, is he?
It was just in his way for his nap. So hold on, let's see if we can.
He's ready for step class.
Yeah, he's sleeping on the step. He joined me in step class one day last week, he joined partway through the class. Dallas had to leave for work and Farley came in and joined. It was near impossible to try to do step class with Farley. That I thought I was going to die. He would have definitely tripped me. So yeah, meal prep for me is just such a huge thing, and being very cautious of what I bring in my house. And it's funny because I don't know how many times I have bought something for my kids, and then I've eaten it all. So I'm like, I don't fall into that trap anymore. If I bought this for the kids, it's no, I bought that for me. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I'm okay with it. And I also throw away a lot of things, which I know some people very much frown upon because it's waste, but either it's waste or it's going on my waste. So I throw away things frequently. And there's some things I will gift, I will donate, I will food bank, I do all of that. But my mom brought cupcakes one day last week for Halloween for the kids. She came out on Tuesday and she brought Halloween cupcakes. Well, Tuesday night, my kids each had a cupcake. Wednesday night, they were at their dad's. Thursday was Halloween and they didn't eat it. And Friday, Ava had a cupcake and Ben was gone. So anyways, on Saturday morning when we took Ava to brownies camp, I threw away the rest of those cupcakes. There was 3 cupcakes left. They went in the garbage. And I didn't feel at all guilty about that because I'm like, if they didn't go in the garbage, they were going in my mouth. And A, they're filled with dairy, which doesn't make me feel good. But do you think I really care about that in the moment? No. And B, I just don't need the calories from cupcakes. C, they're store-bought cupcakes. They're really not that good anyways. So I just threw them in the garbage. I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to eat these. They are gone. And I have to do that sometimes and remember, like, that is my goal. And again, I try really hard not to bring those things in my home, but other people do. And, my kids got Halloween candy and junk from school and all kinds of stuff. And lots of it got donated and is gone. So anyways, that's just how I've learned to deal with it. And then, of course, you guys have seen all the recipes that I post all the time. A lot of what I do with the recipes is I find something that I'm craving or something that I want, and then I recreate it in a healthier way. So I find that I can nick a lot of calories that way by, okay, I want pancakes, but I can't have or don't want to have, depending on what the scenario is, but like, high calorie, empty calorie buttermilk pancakes, blah, blah, blah. But I can have them made with almond flour and I can maybe put some protein in them. I can do different things with them. Instead of putting regular chocolate chips in, I put some dark chocolate or some blueberries or something different. And then I can still eat a pancake and I don't feel guilty about it. I don't feel bad about it, any of that stuff. So I just have learned how to take a regular recipe and make it a healthier version of that same thing so that I'm never feeling deprived. And that's a huge thing in my meal prep too. So if it's Monday and I'm like, oh man, I'm craving pizza like no other, I will try to just ignore my pizza craving. And sometimes it just goes away and that's great. And then my next step is that I try to recreate a healthier version at home. And then after that, if I still can't get rid of it, that's when I will do the unhealthy indulgence. But I don't just go to the indulgence. But I've had to learn to have a lot of self-control that way in terms of, allowing myself to go through these steps before I get to indulgence. So by the time I actually get to the point where I'm indulging in something that's off plan or a cheat or whatever you want to call it, I've really spent a lot of time thinking about it. And then I don't feel guilty because I'm like, you know what? I've been thinking about pizza for 5 days. I'm going to eat that darn pizza and I'm going to enjoy it. Without guilt because I've really wanted it for 5 days and I haven't tried to replace it by eating a whole bunch of chocolate or candy or ice cream or anything else. I've just, ate on plan all week and now I feel like, I'm still thinking about that, so I'm just going to have it.
Yeah, I think the big thing too, and this is really important because Christina mentioned that, when you buy something for the kids, but then full well that it's for you, not for the kids. It goes back to what we always talk about having that really honest conversation with yourself. And then having that really honest conversation with your support network, whether it is your kids and they're older, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your mother, whatever it is, and just saying, okay, so first of all, these are the foods that really, we use the word, or we hear the word trigger a lot. Maybe it's not trigger. Maybe it's just, I just damn want it. Like I love Reese's peanut butter cups. They are not allowed in this house for everything. It's funny. I had a client last week and she's like, there's a bag of Reese's peanut butter cups right there. And even right there, I was like in through the screen. I'm like, how can I get them? So no, they're not allowed. But so you have to have that conversation, one with yourself, so that you understand what some of those things are, right? So is it ice cream? Is it cookies? Is it chips? Like I know Nutella is one of my clients. It's a really big one for her. So I'm always like, okay, let's talk about that. But then you have to really get that support system in play, because we talk a lot about, you know, spouses and children, whether they're older, not little ones, but older children and stuff, who say that they support you along their journey, but they say it with their words, but not necessarily their actions. So if your spouse knows that Reese's peanut butter cups are high on that, oh my gosh, I gotta eat that list, and he brings them home regularly, you probably want to have that conversation with him. And again, it's not an attacking, it's not an angry, it's just, listen, this is what's happening for me. These are my 4, 5, 10, I don't know what they look like, 2 things that are really, really hard for me to say no, no matter how hard, you know, my willpower is, no matter how much I know what my goal is, I struggle with those. So can you please help me out by not bringing them home? Doesn't mean you can't have them, sir, husband, whatever, kid, but maybe eat them in your car, right? Maybe eat them at work only, and just don't bring them home for me. You know, and hopefully your spouse or your kids will be like, yes, absolutely, I want to support you the best I can. You know, and then if they don't, then that's a whole other ballgame. But it really is important to not only talk with yourself about it and understand, but also connect with your support system. You know, if Christina was in her lost phase still, I'm sure she would have told her mom, don't think about bringing anything to my house for Halloween. Now that time is now past, and she knows that she wouldn't have a cupcake. But at the time, her support system was like, no, don't bring it because I don't want it here. And it's an open and honest conversation.
And it's funny. So Debbie said, and then they do it anyways. So my marriage, when I was married, the no takeout was something that we talked about before my surgery. We agreed upon it. I mean, he had some weight to lose at the time, or wanted to lose some weight at the time as well. So he was like, no, I'm fully on board with that. We also self-paid for surgery. So that was another thing, that if we saved the money on the takeout and stuff, that would help to pay for the surgery. Like, there was all kinds of pieces about, I was committed to doing all the cooking, and I did all the cooking. So it was like, okay, I just need you to not order takeout. Like, I will make sure dinner's prepared every single night. You just need to eat what we prepare. And so anyways, he did still order takeout. Like, you know, I think I was probably 4 weeks post-op. Well, actually, I had my surgery in Mexico, and literally the day after my surgery, when we went to the hospital, he was eating Carl's Jr. in the hotel room. But regardless, then we got home, and it was like, okay, no takeout. It was about 4 weeks that no takeout happened. And then it started slowly creeping back into his life. I held firm in that I wouldn't eat it. And he tried like numerous times, like, well, you can just have a little bit, or just do this, or, you know, just eat the insides of a burrito. That's not so bad. Or here, look, I got you a salad. I threw so much food in the garbage. And then I got to the point where I would just go sit in my bedroom if he got takeout. Like, I wouldn't even sit in the kitchen with him. That I was like, no, I set my boundary in that you could have takeout anytime you wanted, but you had to go out and eat it. And he agreed to that. If he didn't agree, that would be a different scenario, and then there would be more conversation about that. But he agreed to it, and then he broke the agreement, not me. So I just, when he would order takeout, I would just go sit in my bedroom, and I'd be like, this is what I'm gonna do. It wasn't worth sacrificing my goals because he didn't want to stick to his part of the agreement. That, so that's something that it's hard, and I'm not gonna say it's easy. When there was pizza in my house and I went and sat in my bedroom, that was not easy. It was also, there was many arguments over that because he would think that I was being too rigid in my plan. He'd be like, you know, you don't need to do that. But for me, that's what I needed to do. We hear a lot about people that can't live with moderation. In my loss phase, I didn't feel like I could live with moderation. I didn't feel like I could have a little bit of pizza and be satisfied. I didn't feel like I could eat the pizza without the crust, like I know a lot of you guys do. Like, I just didn't feel like I could do those things. And it didn't fit with my goals and my plan. That it was like, no, this is, I said no takeout. I said no liquor. I said no to all of these things until I lose all the weight that I want to lose. And so I was just very firm in that goal. And that once I hit goal, then I did get a little, you know, more lenient on things. But even still, I'm still not, like I said, I won't do Uber Eats. I won't do those things. We don't bring McDonald's to our house. Like, we don't do those things. I don't bring ice cream that I'll eat. I'm still fairly rigid in a lot of those rules, but now I'm with somebody who respects my rules and my guidelines and my boundaries. I mean, Dallas had said to me before, you know, we could just order Uber Eats, and then he laughs because he's like, except I know you won't. And like, he would not, like, even if I said to him, like, let's just do Uber Eats, he would say to me, are you sure? Because you said you don't want to do that. Now, if I said, no, I'm absolutely sure, I really think that's the thing that we need to do, I think he would definitely get on board with it and be like, okay, let's do it. I don't think he would hold firm forever if I got weak, but I think he would always remind me of my goals. So I've had to align myself in with a partner that I feel is much more understanding of my goals. And I'm not saying that you guys have to leave your partners. That's not always the case, but I think you do have to hold firm in your goal. So that sometimes means leaving your house when takeout comes in. Yeah, exactly, Debbie. Debbie said she got more lenient. Bad idea. 15 pounds regained. That's what happens when we, let up on the gas too much, and we let those things creep back in, because one thing turns to two things, turns to 12 things, turns to 20 things. You need to know what your level of that is. So, and if every time pizza comes in your house, you have to go for a walk around your neighborhood, if just going to your bedroom isn't enough, if you need to make sure that when he calls the pizza delivery guy and pizza's on its way, you eat dinner right that second. So when pizza comes in the house, you're full, so that you don't do that. So, and sometimes you're going to seem like a bitch. Sorry, I don't want Farley to hear me swearing. Just kidding. Anyways, if you don't want to seem like that person, like that, but you are not, because you've already made your rule, and you've already made an agreement with that partner that they won't do that. And so then if they're the one breaking that, then that's a different story. If they won't agree to it in the first place, you need to find somewhere to meet in the middle. And so if they say, you know what, every Friday night we've had pizza for 20 years that we've been married, and we're going to keep having pizza, then you just need to say, well, then on Friday nights I need to go out, and I need to go for a walk at that time, or I'm going to go to Starbucks and drink a tea at that time, or I don't want to be there for that. So this is, or, could we maybe try making pizza at home, so that it's a little bit healthier instead of ordering it? That, it just becomes a negotiation. And people that love you and care about your journey are going to be willing to negotiate those things with you. People that want you to self-destruct unfortunately aren't going to agree, and to try to find a mutually beneficial solution.
Yeah, and I think the hard part with that is that, of course, you are dealing with people that are supposed to love you and care for you, and I know there's a lot of saboteurs out there, whether it's your mother, your coworker, that person that's like in the office saying, "Oh, come on, like just one drink, it's not the end of the world. Like, what's it gonna do? Kill you? Like, you're so strict about what you're doing." And again, remember, that's not about you. That has nothing to do with you. And Christina said, she doesn't want, people might think that you're being a bitch. Well, you know what? Let them think that, because you're not. That's not about you. They want you to fail because they may not be doing as successfully as they would like to do. So when somebody's turning around and saying all those things to you, negative, 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 come on, you can do it. What's one drink? What's one, bite? It's not about you. So don't even worry about what they're doing. Just know what you're doing. And if it feels good to you, then do it. And if you're like, oh God, maybe I just do want one drink. Maybe just go back to that reason on why you decided not to do that in the first place. If you wanted to be alcohol free, or if you wanted to be pizza free, if you wanted to be ice cream free, why did you want to do that? And then I always say, think about what it would feel like once you do have it, and then how would you feel, right? If you went out and you had a pizza, or you had a drink, or you had some ice cream, it's so short-lived, right? It might feel good for like 2.1 seconds, and then you're just like, oh, either I feel crappy because my stomach's full, or crap, I went against what I said I was going to do. So just always be true to you, and that may mean, yes, I'm going to have pizza today because I really just want to, and that's okay. But don't let other people convince you that what you're doing is wrong, because that's about you, that's about them, not you.
There's this whole, like, for anybody who's lived in any sort of diet culture, there's this whole shame guilt thing that happens. Like, it's this cycle when you have a craving and you've said, no, I don't want to eat that anymore. Like, no, I don't want to eat ice cream anymore. And then you have a craving for ice cream, because that craving is not going to go away just because you said you weren't going to eat it anymore. That's totally unreasonable. So you have you say you're not going to eat ice cream, then you have a craving for ice cream, and then you go ahead and you eat the ice cream anyways. And it gives you this temporary, like, rush of like serotonin and endorphins, and it makes you feel really good for a moment, usually while you're eating it. And then as soon as you finish eating it, you go into this shame and guilt cycle, and you feel shame that you did it, and then you feel guilty that you did it and you shouldn't have done it, and then you often restrict, and then it repeats all over again. So that is honestly, and I'm not even just saying this, but I'm almost 4 years post-op, and that is one of the hugest things that I have done in my journey, is I have broken that diet cycle, that shame and guilt, and I don't do that anymore. If I even catch myself starting to like think that way or talk that way or saying like I shouldn't have eaten that, I always just remind myself, you had a choice to consume that. Nobody held you down with a gun to your head and said, you must eat that ice cream. That has never in my life happened to me. That never once. I have always eaten it by myself and made the choice, made the decision to put it in my own mouth. Nobody has ever forced me to put anything in my mouth. So I made the decision. Whether I was encouraged by somebody else or not, I ultimately made the decision to put it in my body. So I then stopped that shame and guilt cycle, and it has made saying no to indulgence so much easier. And it has made saying yes so much more pleasant. That when I actually do indulge, I really enjoy. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't had ice cream in a long time, and I've been really thinking about it. It's hot right now, which haha, not right now. But I just feel like that would be really enjoyable. Like that, I'd like to go take the kids tonight and get an ice cream and walk around and eat it and whatever. And so I will just do it, and I enjoy it with no shame, with no guilt. And then I don't find that it repeats. Like I don't feel like the next day I need ice cream again, and then the next day I need it again. It's like we had ice cream one time when we were in California a couple of weeks ago. It was a hot day, and the kids were both complaining about the heat. We'd been at the beach, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, it's so hot!" So we went and got ice cream. I had some dairy-free ice cream. I felt amazing. We didn't have it again, and I felt totally fine not having it again. It wasn't like I need to repeat this cycle over and over and over again. So if you really think about, and if you're like me and you like baked goods, is another one that I really enjoy. I also really try to not just have junky baked goods. So like I was saying about the grocery store cupcakes, that I'm like, a grocery store cupcake, I will eat them, and I mean, they taste okay, they're fine, but they're really not that good. So I save my cupcake indulgence for the bakery cupcake that I'm like, ooh, we have this one bakery in town and it is amazing. And so I save when I want a cupcake, if it's like my birthday's coming up in 10 days, in case you're shopping. So anyways, I will save my indulgence of cupcakes for that. And I'm like, no, I want Avenue cupcake. That's what I'm looking for. That I don't want, just to go to co-op, and I don't want just, a grocery store cake or cupcakes or anything like that. Either I want to make them myself or I want this specific kind. And then when I have it and I indulge, and they are large cupcakes, like it's a meal. And I feel really good about it because I'm like, it's super exciting. You can tell just by the way I light up talking about them. But it's like a couple times a year that I indulge in them. And it's planned, and there is zero guilt that happens afterwards. That it is just, I live in cupcake euphoria for a few minutes, and then it's gone, and then I move on with the rest of my day. I didn't destroy my day. I didn't gain all my weight back. I didn't do anything except eat a cupcake and enjoy it, and then walked away.
Totally. Well, see, we always don't have a plan per se, and then we go on a really great conversation. So guys, if you are missing out on our coffee chats, we're here Mondays at this time, which is what, 10 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock your time, for more fun and exciting next Monday. Oh, there's a bug flying in my face. And if you guys have anything you want us to talk about, let us know. Send us a message or comment on here, and we'll kind of discuss it during our coffee chats. But yeah, I think I love them. I love having sit down. I'm having water now, but I was having my tea. So
yes, my coffee
awesome. Yes. So, all right. Well, have a fantastic day, Christina. And I'll talk to you later. But we'll talk to you guys all later next week, same time, same place.
Bye, everybody. Bye.